Welcome back, everybody, to my awards predictions. Today I'm going to be doing my BAFTA winner predictions. I'll be going over every single category and giving who I think will win. I didn't put a lot of effort into these, but I put in some. I think some of these might be very indicative of who's going to win an Oscar. Of course, the BAFTA had a jury this year, which gave us some great diverse picks. And we'll be going over some of those. I haven't seen all of those, so I don't have any opinions on those as far as performance-wise. But I'm sure a lot of them were good, and the ones that I did see were very good. First up, for the Rising Star Award, I'm going to predict Kingsley Ben-Adir. The reason being, I think he had the bigger movie overall worldwide, and of course, this award is voted on by the public. So I don't think the fact that she got nominated and that Rock's got a lot of nominations from the Academy is going to matter a whole lot. It could matter some, obviously, because that way Rock's got recognized a lot. So when they look at the BAFTA, they're going to see how much Rock's was nominated. And that could easily lead to a Bucky Beret win, and that would definitely be deserved. But I personally liked Kingsley Ben-Adir's performance a bit better, and I think he definitely deserves this if he gets it. For visual effects, I think this could easily be Tenet. I think it's going to be Tenet. The Visual Effects Society gave their award recently, their big award, to Midnight Sky, but the Visual Effects Society usually isn't the best at predicting the Oscar, and given that I think the Oscar is going to go to Tenet, I think it makes logical sense that the BAFTA gives it to as well. They've given it to Nolan films every time they've won visual effects there, and seeing as I think they're still the front runner despite losing the Visual Effects Society award, I think they're going to easily give it to Tenet. Christopher Nolan being British also helps, and Tenet did actually fairly well in the UK overall, so I think that could easily be a winner here.
I was a fooligan and forgot to record the one for sound. I'll just say Sound of Metal, because Sound of Metal should win the Oscar. So, yeah.
For makeup and hairstyling, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom seems very logical. It's clearly the front runner for the Oscar after taking Critics' Choice in both the big awards of the Makeup and Hairstyling Awards Guilds. I could see them giving it to Pinocchio instead, but I don't think that's going to happen. They usually don't give it to those types of movies from what I've seen. So I think Ma Rainey's Black Bottom definitely feels like the easy pick. For Emma, I think the BAFTAs, as I've seen, love old-timey dresses even more than the Oscars do, and the Oscars do love those. But I think they love them a bit more. They give it to films like The Favorite, The Great Gatsby, and Anna Karenina, films that I don't even know if the latter two were nominated at the Oscars, but are clearly very much old-timey, kind of fancy-style Vanity Clothes, and Emma would definitely have that. Ma Rainey has that a bit, but it's not as much, as most of them are somewhat moderately dressed, being that they're not all rich. But the BAFTA seem to like really rich-looking clothing, so I might think they might go for that. But Ma Rainey could definitely still upset here, but I think I'm going to go with Emma for the BAFTA. For production design, Mank seems very much ahead. The only thing that's making me doubt it a little bit here, even though it's very much ahead for the Oscar, and I think it'll win the Oscar no matter what. But what might make it lose this is the amount of momentum that The Father has gained, it being a British film, and the subtle changes in the production design that's really become a narrative in that category could really bolster it a lot, and could maybe even make it a rival to Mank somewhat. And I think it has the best chance here, given that they actually don't love like old-timey Hollywood stuff. They didn't give it to the artists like the Oscars did, so who knows, it could definitely be The Father. I wouldn't be surprised at all, but I'm gonna go with Mank still. It's a very easy choice. For editing, they love fast car movies, so they usually give it to the ones because it has a lot of quick cuts and it's exciting. They gave it to Rush, for goodness sakes, like the Ron Howard film. I don't know if anyone remembers that. It had Chris Hemsworth in it. Anyways, I think that editing will go to the Charles Chicago 7. It's the closest thing to Cars because it's car speed editing for dialogue, I guess. That's the best way I can describe it. I could easily see it going to The Father or even Nomadland. But, you know, Charles Chicago 7 feels like an easy pick. I think Sound of Metal won't do as well here, considering Sound of Metal was definitely weaker at the BAFTAs overall, I think. And, you know, I think this is the only category it got nominated for outside the jury, except for sound. So I think it's less likely to win this award overall. But if it wins, I definitely would make it my front runner for the Oscar. For cinematography, this is extremely easy. It's going to be Nomadland. Nomadland has been sweeping. It got the Critics' Choice, has been sweeping the Critics' Awards, and looks to be doing very well at the BAFTAs. It tied Rocks for being the most nominated film, and Joshua James Richards is also British, so I think they're going to definitely want to give him the award for the amazing work he did, and for him also being the Oscar frontrunner. This seems like a pretty easy pick. I really don't see anyone else winning it. Casting. Now, I think this could go to any of the films. There's not a lot of history to go on because they just introduced this award last year. I think it could be any of the 4. I don't think it'll be Calm with Horses. That did about as well as the other American films. I could see it being Judas and the Black Messiah because Daniel Kaluuya was a very good cast, and seeing how they awarded Joker last year, it might be that they just love how well some person was casted, and that's why people are also arguing for Promising Young Woman, seeing how Casey Mulligan fit that role so well, and that's why people are also arguing for the Judas and the Black Messiah, seeing how well Daniel Kaluuya fit the role of Fred Hampton. I'm personally going with Minari. This is a little bit of personal bias, but it's only because I really don't know who to pick. All of these would be fantastic choices. I don't think there's a single weak one here. The one I haven't mentioned that's currently the front runner is Rocks. I could easily see it going with that, seeing as they got a lot of more inexperienced young actors to give really strong performances in roles they really fit. And I think that would totally be deserving. I think the casting is extremely well done and some of the actors are great. I especially love Bucky Burry. I think I would love her if she won the BAFTA. I think she would be very deserving of it. But I'm going to go with Minari only because it kind of seemed like they kind of have a combination of both. They had good people for the big roles like Steven Yeun and Yeri Han, and they also kind of combined having a Korean and like Korean American kids and a Korean American actor all to fit in together into one seamless family. So I think that's pretty impressive. I think the BAFTA might acknowledge that. For original score, I really couldn't see this being anyone but Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross because they've just been dominating. They've won all the Critics Award, they won the Composer Society Award, and they won the Critics' Choice. And the Golden Globe. Like, they seem very set to win this award. This is the place I think they might have the most trouble personally winning. I could see a rare instance where some reason they love Minari and want to award it in almost every single category. It's unlikely considering how they didn't put it on the long list and that had a normal process. But this is the place where I could see them giving it to Emile Mosseri because I don't think they are in love with Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. But I could easily see, I think that's why I'm still predicting Soul. But this is the place I see a most likely upset. Still not very likely. For supporting actor, this seems one of the easiest predictions. Daniel Kaluuya. He's won at every single award show and now he's on home turf. Him being British helps him a little bit. Not a lot. I don't want to say it helps him a lot, but I could easily see him winning this award. The only upset I would see was Paul Raci, but even then, they didn't love Sound of Metal. They didn't nominate in some of the categories that the Oscars did, mainly Screenplay. They didn't nominate it and might expect them to do that. They did not. So I don't think he has a very good chance. That's why I think Kaluuya is a very good pick, and that's probably why it's in casting. Mostly because of him. I don't think it's because of Lakeith Stanfield. Even though he gives a great performance, feels like it's really all about Daniel. The reason they acknowledge Judas and Black Messiah is to celebrate Daniel Kaluuya. So they're going to give him this award. For supporting actress, I think this could be a number of people. I think this could be up to 4 people. I don't think it'll be Dominique Fishback. She has a slight chance, but I really don't think she's a very good one personally. I could see Kosar Ali taking this award, even though personally I don't think she has a big enough role to compare to the other 2 who I think are ahead of her. So that's why I don't think she's really got a good chance. She gives a great performance, no doubt. She's just not in the movie too much. Yoo Jung-yoon and Murray Baklava are much more prevalent in their own movies, so I think they could maybe have a more likelihood of winning. Yoo Jung-yoon seems like the front runner after winning the SAG. That's why I'm going with her. I personally love her performance a little more than Maria Bakalova, but I could easily see Maria Bakalova taking this award. It wouldn't surprise me at all. And it wouldn't surprise me at all to see Kosar Ali or any other of the women in this category take it, but I'm going to go with Yoo Jung-yoon. For lead actor, this is the chance where Anthony Hopkins could upset Chadwick Boseman, but seeing as how Chadwick has swept all season, I really don't see any award show, even the BAFTAs, which clearly love Anthony Hopkins because they've already given him 2 lead BAFTAs. I don't see the need for them to give him another one, really, even though he obviously puts out a great performance. I think Chadwick definitely needs to be acknowledged by the BAFTAs, and they're going to want to, considering how big of a symbol he was just worldwide, and the fact that they nominated him at all. The jury themselves knew that they needed to nominate him, even though they could easily have snubbed him like they did Viola Davis. So I think Chadwick's a very easy pick. However, this is definitely the place where if Hopkins will to upset, it has to be now. If he doesn't, well then Chadwick's definitely winning the Oscar. For actress, I could easily see this going to any of the top 3 women in this category, at least according to Gold Derby. Frances McDormand and Bucky Beret were both in films that got 7 overall BAFTA nominations. Now, the reason I'm thinking more towards Nomadland and Frances McDormand is because she gives just a high caliber. I think all these women, the top 3 women, Vanessa Kirby, Bucky Beret, and Frances McDormand, all give around the same tier of great performances. I haven't seen the others. I need to catch up on those. But I really haven't heard too much hype, and I'm like, it's just a matter of fact that some of those performances simply aren't getting enough hype, and those movies aren't getting distributed enough to really be likely to win any BAFTAs. So that's why I'm only sticking with these 3. Now, the reason I don't think Bucky Beret will win this, other than, like, she gives a great performance, no doubt. I would love to see her win this. I think she'd be very deserving. She carries that movie. I think the movie's a little weaker than some people think, but she's definitely a point that did not disappoint whatsoever. What I could see happening, though, is that since Rock's got a few of its nominations from the jury, 2 of them, not that they weren't deserved, but Rock's feels a little weaker overall, seeing how it didn't get too many other technical nominations. 2 of its nominations came from it being a British film, because it got nominated for debut British film and British film. So that's why I'm kind of thinking Frances McDormand. I could also see this easily being Vanessa Kirby, but seeing how Pieces of Woman really has died down, there's no hype about the movie itself, that could hurt Vanessa's chances a bit. But apparently she still gives a great performance, and I wouldn't be surprised to see her win it all, but I'm going to stick with Frances McDormand. For adapted screenplay, I could easily see Nomadland taking this, but I'm going to predict The Father because it's on home turf, it's a British film, and, you know, it feels a lot more like a writing film than Nomadland does, but that's what everyone's saying. I do believe, though, that Chloe Zhao still crafted a very good script and has some very good lines that you wouldn't think would be really good with a more documentary style of movie, but also that's why things like Borat have won the WGA. People really don't care as long as what you put on the page is good. We don't really care if it's focused on the screenplay. And I think a lot of the stuff that was put on the page is still very strong. However, I think The Father does have a lot of more reliance on its screenplay overall, which is why the BAFTAs might want to acknowledge Florian Zeller, considering how he's been snubbed from a lot of awards talk overall, and he doesn't look likely to get his film any Oscars. But I think he could definitely get at least one BAFTA, and I think would be here. Seems very appropriate seeing how he is a writer, and teaming up with a pretty prolific British screenwriter could really help his chances here. For original screenplay, I think this is the time where Promising Young Woman locks up that category and takes it away from Trial of Chicago 7, easily makes it the front runner for the Oscar. If Trial were to win this, I'd be extremely concerned and probably would predict Trial, because Emerald Fennell is on home turf. She is British, and the writing is what's been most acclaimed overall, I think, in the movie. I don't think anyone can doubt the writing in that movie, which is why it's gotten nominated almost everywhere. And it's seemed a frontrunner almost everywhere. It got a Golden Globe nomination for overall screenplay. I think that's one indication. And it still won the Writers Guild and the Critics' Choice. So if it doesn't win this, I'm switching to Trial. Of course, Trial would have to win. I could see Another Round potentially upsetting if for some reason they really love Another Round. I love Another Round. I totally would be justified. I just don't see that happening. I'm sticking with Promising Young Woman. For animated feature, I'm going to go with Soul. Pretty easy pick. Wolfwalkers has the best chance here, seeing how Cartoon Saloon's more of an Irish European studio. However, they've never even nominated any of Cartoon Saloon's movies, so they aren't huge fans, at least whoever is in charge of, I'm assuming they have an animation guild within the BAFTA organization. Clearly they don't really love Cartoon Saloon too much, so I think it's still going to go for Soul for sure. But if any chance Wolfwalkers has to upset, it would be right here. And I would love that. I personally like Wolfwalkers a little bit better than Soul, but I still think Soul's a great film and it definitely deserves this award. For documentary, I'm going to go with Collective. They usually align often when when they award a European documentary, they align with the winner of the European Film Academy documentary, and that was Collective. It seems like an easier pick than My Octopus Teacher, even though I could easily see them giving it to My Octopus Teacher, or even like The Social Dilemma or David Attenborough's documentary. I could see them giving it to one of those. But I think that Collective feels like the easiest one to award, especially since I'm assuming that there are some people who have been closer to the situation overall and have spread this kind of news. And this kind of event was more known in the UK, so it's more important that they made a documentary about this for Europe rather than for the Americas. So Collective is my prediction. For film, not in the English language, I'm going to go with Another Round. Now, I think Minari could easily win this, and I think they might show Minari I think Minari could win up to 3 BAFTAs, which would be kind of crazy, considering how it didn't even get nominated for film. And I don't know if that would be the most of the year, but that would be kind of crazy. It could win this category, but I think Another Round feels like an easy pick, mainly because original screenplay, which wasn't a jury award, Another Round was nominated over Minari. And that's why one of the reasons why Minari's very much looking weak for screenplay. It would have to win director to get to picture, even though, again, that's very unlikely. It already lost the SAG. I just would love Minari to win Best Picture. But Nomadland's still a very solid pick. Getting off topic. Another Round, still a very great film. Mads Mikkelsen gives a great performance. Great run by Thomas Vinterberg. He's been nominated for this award twice before. So this seems like the time to, third time's the charm. Give him the BAFTA. He's, very deserving of it. And I'll be glad that Another Round gets something, considering Minari's kind of been stealing it, even though it's not really... Well, in this case, it kind of qualifies because it's filmed not in the English language, so it kind of counts. But at the same time, it's more of an American film, so the Golden Globes are stupid. But anyways, Another Round is my prediction. For director, I really don't see this being anybody except Chloe Zhao, honestly. Nomadland got all the nominations that it would want from the BAFTAs, and Chloe Zhao is pretty much representative that even if they don't give it picture, which I still find unlikely, they're going to give it director. They would have to love Minari. They would have to award it supporting actress, casting, music, before they would give Lee Isaac-Chung the win here. And I don't think Minari or A24 did the best job at being distributed there and being too loved, considering how they didn't make the long list. So I find that very unlikely. Obviously, the direction from the rest of them are great. I just don't think any of them are perfect or as strong as Chloe Zhao's work in Nomadland. So that's my prediction. For Best Debut, Rocks seems like the very easy answer. I'm currently predicting it to only win this category, which would be very surprising considering it got the same amount of nominations as Nomadland. And I'm currently having Nomadland at 3 awards, so I think Rocks will probably win another category, but it's at least winning this. I just wouldn't know where else Rocks would win. That's why I'm putting it only to win this award. It's very deserving. I checked it out. 7 out of 10 for me personally. I think the presentation is a little weaker, which is why the direction, Oscar, BAFTA, while deserved, definitely would need improvement. I could see this director improving a lot. Obviously, the actors, are the highlight of the movie, and I'm glad they're nominated. I just don't think it all relies on Bucky Beret, and even though I think she could easily win, I don't know if the film's prominent enough, but the film's definitely prominent enough to win this award. So, debut film, definitely giving it to Rocks. For British film, I could also see Rocks winning, honestly. But I'm going to predict Promising Young Woman. It seems between that and The Father for most people, especially in the Americas. I just don't know how popular Rocks is overall in the UK, whether it's become like an indie hit, like it's almost their version of a Minari or a Promising Young Woman as far as popularity from a small budget, small studio kind of thing. And considering how many nominations it got, it's very likely it could be a pretty big hit considering it got that screenplay nomination. But 3 of its nominations were jury awards. It didn't get, and then it got British film and British debut. So I find it a little less likely. The fact that they didn't nominate it in Best Film overall is a bit concerning for me. So I don't think it'll win this. I'm going to go with Promising Young Woman, which was nominated for Best Film and feels like a logical choice. And I think the BAFTAs, a lot of members were upset about Carey Mulligan not being nominated. So I don't know. They might throw their votes to a more British actor to make sure Francis wins, now that I think about it. But overall, I think they'll still give it to Promising Young Woman because they want Carey Mulligan's work to be recognized, even though they can't nominate her because the jury stole them away that. For Best Film, it seems pretty easy considering if it wins the 3 awards, I anticipate it will: Cinematography, Actress, and Picture. And it could even win Screenplay, which would be 4 freaking awards, and there's no way they don't give it to Nomadland after that. It's the Oscar frontrunner, and, while the BAFTAs don't often align with the Oscars, this looks like one of those years where they will. It's been a long time coming, but I think it's going to happen. It would be very weird if something like The Trial of Chicago 7 won this. I'd be baffled, because it really doesn't feel like a BAFTA's pick. I wouldn't be too surprised at The Father. I think The Father could be extremely popular with British audiences and might actually end up dominating. But it's unlikely, I think. I don't think there's any film that's straight up dominating from surface level except Nomadland, which is why I'm going to easily give it this award. And yeah, that's been my BAFTA predictions. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be coming out with an Oscar predictions after both the DGAs and the BAFTAs happen, using my information from those to inform my picks for the winners upcoming. And yeah, make sure to look out for that video, and thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys.